Hi, my name is Judy Ryan, and I'm the CEO of Lifework Systems. We have been in business since 2002. So we've been around the block a few times, and we are loving what we are doing and bringing to many, many people. I am here to answer the question today, what kind of culture is healthiest and why? So the system you want to create is a responsibility-based system where there's tons of freedom, but people also know how to take responsibility for managing their relationships, managing their own productivity, managing their own sense of engagement. And it's also about really helping create the conditions where everybody wants to contribute, everybody wants to support each other. That is what happens when you build a shared power, purpose and value-based, responsibility-based model.
People are your greatest asset. And when you have a workplace culture that's excellent, it helps you to overcome a lot of challenges that are part of our world today. For example, we have such speed of change now. Things that used to take years or months can take a day or a week. And so people are scrambling to understand things like robotics or artificial intelligence or digital transformation or globalization. And there's also the issues of how do we deal with, all the negative behavior that is very evident and kind of in our faces right now. And what are the costs to us as human beings when we're not managing stress and we're not managing our wellness?
Some things don't have clear dollars and cents, but I was putting out a fire every day in the past, and we couldn't get our head above water to be proactive on anything. The fires are few and far between, and they're already working on them. And so we're able to hit project deadlines. It's not we were supposed to meet this, but then this issue came up. We're hitting our targets, and we're much more productive in that fashion. So.
One of the challenges I have as a performance management specialist and a culture specialist is people really understanding what is wrong, what's the problem? Once there's a willingness to look and question the outdatedness of some of those models, then it's important to know what to put into the vacuum.
I managed about 1,000 people in 300 locations. And for those of you that are in healthcare, everything's always about productivity. How many patients can you see? How many patients can you treat? How fast can you do it? How quickly can you get them well? And we slipped into really the control-based. All we talked about was productivity. How can we get your productivity up? If your productivity's not up, we're going to write you up. We're going to terminate you. And it wasn't really the culture that we wanted to have with our team. So as I grew the regional team and got their skill sets up, we decided to do a pilot project with 15 of our facilities. And we really focused on how can you as a team meet your productivity goals, because the ultimate goal was to see more patients. It wasn't about profit that was going to sell it to the therapist that were working with the patients. So we started working with Judy on some of the different modules and training the teams on how to take that responsibility themselves. And they came up with some really great ideas on how to improve productivity without us putting the hammer down saying, well, you're not productive enough, so we're going to write you up. And it really became a great thing for our organization, because we were able to get that group of therapists much more engaged, which helped our patient care, which helped our customer satisfaction. And really, we started to see those results.
And I think for many executives and managers, they still hold this mindset that we only have to invest in developing our senior team and our mid-level managers and our supervisors. And the reality is that's like saying, oh, we'll just give cell phones to the top people. And it's really not necessarily a good idea. But a lot of times people haven't wrapped their head around the fact that you can equip everyone.
I do like that everyone is included in the culture change process, because it gives us all a common language. And I like that we can prompt each other for gaps. If we start to go along a tool and somebody says, oh, will you do it this way? Or you forgot that piece, or that was perfect. And we can support each other. So the LifeWorks model is everything. It's packed full. And you could get a million things out of it. All the time, still today, I go to sessions or I learn information and then get to practice, and I think, I am at work doing this. They are kind of paying me to do this, and this is such amazing and life-changing information. Just feel grateful constantly about it.
The kind of culture that you need to be an effective organization is one in which you believe that people are and want to be great. And that if they're not acting great, it's a system problem. It's not about asking who's to blame and why is this happening. It's really about what system, if it were put in place, would allow people to be excellent?
You know you're gossiping when
you wouldn't say it in front of the person that you're speaking about.
Right. So I would imagine in the workplace, there are managers who feel like there's nothing much I can do about this.
Most of the time, that's true. They do believe that this is just a way of life. In fact, everybody believes that this is just kind of a thing you have to tolerate. What we do is we actually put it up on the table and we address it head on. But the process of actually going through the behavior changes that need to happen can be very challenging. So really what that opens up is all of the areas in an organization where people need to recognize where they don't have adequate trust, where they don't have adequate skills to go and be diplomatic in resolving issues. So
because to have fear that I can't talk to a certain person is in no way productive.
Right, it's not. And as adults, we think we're supposed to know how, but most people haven't been given adequate training in how to do that.
I was having a difficult time getting through to one of the physicians that I work with closely. He wanted to power over me and use this very puffed up image that he was a physician and he knew better. I was able to work with him and use the redirect tool, and now he's a team player. He sees that I'm on his side and I'm just trying to help him. All in all, it worked. It was great. It was nice to practice first before I went in. Once he saw that we were on the same team and we all had the same goal, it was a much different story.
And you hear a lot about emotional intelligence. Most people don't really know what that is. But emotional intelligence is simply being self-aware, being able to manage yourself, being aware of others, and being able to manage the relationship with others.
When I left this job, I left it in less than 3 weeks. And I sent her a pretty little note card, and I said, Donna, just a little note to tell you, in my 40 years on this planet, you are without a doubt one of the most mean-spirited, rude, I can't even remember everything, people that I've ever had the misfortune to meet. That said, congratulations, you're a success.
Okay, did you like anybody in that office? Did you like anybody?
People.
Okay, guess what you just created for them? Go ahead and say it out loud.
When given the demanded competition or put down, they act even more self-righteous, competitive, superior, insufferable, or cocky. Create subtle sabotage of team and create lose-wins.
That's what you you helped further.
Oh.
I think it's a fine line between recognizing that there's negativity around you and succumbing to the negativity that's around you. You tell us that we have to be aware that it's there, because that's the first step to turning it into something positive.
There's a lot of really good reasons why we misbehave, and it's mainly because we don't feel empowered in our life, we don't feel lovable, we don't feel connected, and we don't feel contributing. And when we don't feel any of those, that's the root of it.
Ben.
Yes. When somebody's misbehaving, it actually draws us in to their discouragement unless we're conscious and we're on top of that.
I remember recently a consulting company had a couple of consultants. They were in a big multinational company, and they were so hostile to each other that the client called the consulting company and said, you got to do something about your two consultants, because they are just really hostile and it's hard for us to get help from them. They called me in to meet with these two consultants. And the first thing I said was, I want to first find out where you are with your trustworthiness. They immediately said, we don't want to do that. We just want to talk about the client that we're working with. And I said, no, we're starting here. So I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, what number you would give this, the quality of this relationship, explaining that a 10 is nothing unresolved and, a 1 or 2 is like, it's almost hopeless. And one of them gave the relationship a 1 and the other one gave it a 2. And I said to them, it's like you're driving down the highway in a car that's on fire and you would prefer to ignore that. That's what people do until they decide to create the safe place of really paying attention to the trustworthiness before it gets down to a 1 or a 2.
I like how in Lifeworks we break it down into what it actually means, and that we get very specific information on how to show up as trustworthy. It gives everybody hopefully a sense of what trustworthiness really means. I don't just accept that, oh, that's just the way this person is, or that's just the relationship, or we just don't get along well. I can go further than that now, because I know it's totally possible for anybody to have trust. So having that spelled out gives a lot more distinct actions that I can take to build it up again. So I do know immediately when it's not working, and I see it everywhere now, and I can make it better.
We're here to talk about the importance of an effective implementation when you're going about a culture change. Now, we have built an implementation process that's based on the best practices from education. And there's a video on this that I really encourage you to watch. And there's a really kind of funny story and sort of a very telling story about what allows people to learn and absorb and retain and apply and sustain change over time, because that becomes the most important next step. Implementation is critical to your success.
And what surprised me the most is that it was easy to implement. It's one thing to say, oh, we believe in being trustworthy and we believe in being excellent. It's another thing to get very specific ways to make things better. Because I've heard a lot of this stuff before, but I wasn't given the exact model or the exact steps to walk through it and actually do the deal, walk the walk.
No matter the size of your organization, you need a culture change that is scalable across your entire workforce and that is so effective that it's not only understood, it is applied, it is found relevant, and it is supported ongoing. It allows you to interview and hire and onboard new employees into a very specific type of culture. And so that they are there to support one another in using what's learned. And that's when you really have an effective and consistent set of concepts, tools, terms, and processes.
It has taken the company to places of better engagement, better collaboration, better teamwork. We know each other a whole lot better now. We have greater relationships. We know how to communicate. So all of the work, while at times it can be very difficult and very challenging, it's beneficial in so many ways. Tools really create a great platform to have more meaningful relationships.
I have noticed a staff that is happier, more productive, and working better as a team, and consistently doing that.
It's really about what system, if it were put in place, would allow people to be excellent, to meet today's complexity and speed of change and globalization and all of the things that we're facing today. Thank you so much for taking a look at our work.